Hi, howdy. This is how you greet in USA. Ever since the Nautch party of Saheb Jan, Puri Bhai and Umda came to the United States in 1880 and performed Nautch dances in New York City, Indian dance has grown leaps and bounds to a well established presence in the United States. Also, thanks to the migration, the expatriates in USA have been on the steady increase. A consequence of this is the export of dance practitioners who went with their families and are now well established names in many parts of the USA, from New York to San Francisco. Today in the Americas, including USA and the Canada, there are more than 500 schools or centers that teach Bharatanatyam to young girls and boys. The number of dance schools is directly proportional to the number of Indian diaspora. Thus, one finds more dance teachers in areas where Indians and people of Indian origin reside. For example, the greater metropolitan area of San Francisco, comprising San Jose, Oakland, and Berkeley. To begin with, Bharatanatyam dancers who came as wives or doctors and engineers working abroad cautiously ventured into starting Bharatanatyam classes in the basements and garages. This was possible only after the change in US immigration policies in the 1960s. Thus, the dance became for the diaspora a means of retaining connection with one's Indianness while functioning from home, and also an expression reinforcing and asserting one's separate ethnic identity while remaining part of a larger multicultural society such as the United States. Slowly over the decades, Bharatanatyam has acquired a more visible presence and the label of Oriental dance has faded. The awareness of the dance form has been a two-way street where dancers from the USA, Ruth St. Denis, Ted Shawn, Anne Pavlova, La Mary, Ragini Devi, came to India to learn the mystical form and took back with them more than they imagined, which they showcased to the Western audience. The audiences at that time were more intrigued by the exotic nature of the Orient, and thus these dancers were able to fill the gap. Also, even as the exotic label wore off, the dancers were influential in spawning more dancers to whom India beckoned. Like Isadora Duncan, Ruth St. Denis was a revolutionary artist who felt the need to break from the limitations of ballet. Knowing fully well that the Western mind could not assimilate the content of these dances of the East, she made no attempt to reproduce them. She was aware that these gestures and movements have been passed on for generations. Her aim was to give a fair and beautiful translation that would help American and European dance audiences come closer to Oriental cultures. In that, she proved to be a catalyst for her generation, even though current scholars do accuse her of cultural appropriation. Her many dances with the Indian themes like Radha, Incense, Cobra, Nautch dance made many come closer to the things of Indian origin, and Ted Shawn was drawn to her art and her and later got married to her. Thus, Denny Shawn, the dance school and dance company were born. Denny Shawn toured until 1932, during which time they trained countless dancers. The most memorable tour from the Indian dance history point of view was in 1925 when the company landed in India at Calcutta. The scene in the United States today is a far cry from the days when a certain Ragini Devi, actual name of Esther Lula Sherman, mother of Indrani Rahman, nurtured an inner conviction of having been an Indian in her previous birth. Began learning Bharatanatyam from Mayapur Gauri Ammal of Chennai and Jetty Thayyamma of Karnataka. Having stumbled upon a copy of the Natyasudha in 1928, she subsequently authored a book on Indian classical dance in English called Anjali in the same year. When Ragini Devi returned to her homeland America, it was to see modern dancers Ruth St. Denis creating through her imagination dance images of an India she had never visited, though she did travel to this country much later in life. Ragini Devi, in an attempt to make what she had learnt in India to communicate with the best Western audiences, even set Bharatanatyam movements to Western music. Arriving in India in the late 1940s, the American Nalanajan immersed himself wholeheartedly in learning Bharatanatyam. Like all others of his time, he based himself in Madras and later, after his guru Kattumanar Muthukumaran Pillai left Madras for his native place, he decided to follow him to Chidambaram. Back in New York City, Nalla started dancing, but several factors made him not succeed. First, men dancing those days were an oddity, even in New York of the 50s. Second, opportunities for Hindu dances, as it was labeled then, were few. He survived in the 60s, helping Ted Shawn and Saul Hurok organize tours of visiting Indian artists. His official debut took place on February 12, 1960 in New York City. Nallanajan was instrumental in the Sarikala Chow dancers for the first time touring the USA, with Nalla himself providing expert introductions. He was the first promoter of the form and enlisted Saul Hurok as the impresario to help the form reach many in the USA. His introductions and commentary on each dance form was very useful, as Indian dances were not well known and clubbed with Oriental or Hindu dances. It can be said that Nallanajan put India on the world dance map in USA. Similarly, starting with Uday Shankar, billed as Shankar, Ram Gopal, Gopinath, Shantarao, Bhaskarrao Chaudhary, Bala Saraswati, Rukmini Devi Arundale's troupe, and others who regularly performed in the USA as part of their world tours have paved the way in creating an audience base who were inclined to watch an Indian dance performance. Also, writers like Beryl de Zoot Dutch and Tavernier French wrote extensively on dancing in India. In the decade after this, the slow and steady revival of Indian dance traditions started, and above foreigners deserve credit for showcasing Indian dances worldwide, thereby creating not only an interest and a market abroad, but also an opening in the eyes of Indians to their own traditions. While Indian dances have reached out to most corners of the world now, thanks also to Indian diaspora, the original catalysts have pioneering foreigners and traditional gurus who inspired many Indians to relook at their own dance traditions. They played a significant role in shaping the fortunes of Indian dances. Tanjore Balasaraswati's contribution to Bharatanatyam in USA cannot be undermined. While being an artist in resident at Wesleyan University, her classes and subsequent dance and music festival during the Navratri had become popular so much that Wesleyan University had the unique tradition of dance scholarship and performance driven by Balasaraswati's influence. Two conferences held in the United States at Houston and at Chicago on Indian dance in the diaspora, September 1 to 3rd, and Bharatanatyam in the diaspora, September 6 to 9, respectively, were proof of the more assertive Indian dance present in the United States. While the first of these events was mounted by Samskriti under the guidance of dancer Ratna Kumar, the Chicago conference was presented by Natya Dance Theatre run by Hema Rajagopalan, ably assisted by daughter and disciple Kritika Rajagopalan, in conjunction with Columbia College, Chicago. Not just the East and West Coast, but also the Midwest was not left behind. As a pharmacy student from Bombay, Penny Ferguson moved to Iowa a few years after independence. Here she established the Gateway Dance Theatre, where Indian classical dances were taught by her and others. Before moving to Iowa, she was part of the troupe of Ram Gopal and Nallanajan, giving performances in New York City. Another example is Rani Ramaswamy, who started teaching Bharatanatyam in Minneapolis and has become a household name. In 2011, she was nominated as a member of the National Council of Arts by the US President Barack Obama. Canada was not far behind in spawning dance schools teaching Bharatanatyam. Toronto saw its first Bharatanatyam school in 1975 with the opening of Maneka Thakkar's Nrityakala. Latapada founded Sampradaya in 1990 in Mississauga. Trained in the Tanjore style of Bharatanatyam, she and a dance company presented Bharatanatyam and contemporary works. Sudha Khandwani opened her Kalanidhi Fine Arts of Canada in 1992. A notable contribution to the diaspora is by way of conferences and international festivals. Hari Krishnan migrated from Singapore, artistic director of In Dance, and is known equally for his traditional Bharatanatyam as well as his contemporary works. Janak Kendri's Bharatanatyam started in 1955 in Chidambaram and later in Kattumanar Koil under Muthukumaran Pillai in Hyderabad with T.K. Narayanan. In 1968, he met U.S. Krishna Rao and Chandrabhaga Devi of Bangalore in New York City, who gave him the best of Pandanallur's tradition for the next few years. Janak Kendri Dance Company started in 1978 in New York and registered in Canada in 1981. In Montreal, Mamta Niyogi Nakra, a disciple of U.S. Krishna Rao and Chandrabhaga Devi, has been teaching the Pandanallur style she imbibed from her gurus through her institution Kala Bharati that she founded in 1981. In Vancouver, Canadian dancer Jay Govinda, real name being Benoit Villeneuve, is carrying on the good work with his Mandala Arts and Culture. Established in 1994, the Academy specializes in Bharatanatyam and is recognized by Heritage Canada for its excellence in teaching. Bala Saraswati's disciple Priyamvada Shankar and her Shankar School of Bharatanatyam and Vasanta Krishnan's Nrityalaya Foundation are both based in Quebec. Prominent Bharatanatyam schools in the USA, to name a few, are Rangoli Foundation for Art and Culture by Malti Iyengar in California, Arpana School of Dance by Ramya Harishankar in California, Lasya Dance Company, Vidya Subramaniam again in California, Shakti Dance Company, Vijay Prakash again in California, Ragmala Dance Company, Rani Ramaswamy in Minneapolis, Abhinay Dance Company, Maithili Kumar in California, Natya Dance Theatre, Hema Rajgopalan in Illinois, Nityanjali Jyoti Raghavan in Massachusetts, Nrityasudha's Hindu Temple Rhythms, Sudha Chandrasekhar in Michigan, Surya Dance Company, Prasanna Kasturi in Montana, Nityanjali Institute of Dance, Ramya Ramnarayan in New Jersey, Nrityasaagaram Dance Company, Satya Pradeep in New York, Nritya School of Bharatanatyam by Padmani Chari in Texas, Anjali Center for Performing Arts, Ratna Kumar Papa again in Texas, Aarti School of Dance by Revati Satyu in Dallas, Texas, and Aarti School of Dance by Asha Gopal in Phoenix, Arizona. These dancers have navigated two worlds in choreography. They have maintained and propagated the tradition of the Margam format among the diaspora, which finds a good audience. Also, devised and produced newer choreography that appeal to the next generation in the context of the American culture and politics. Thus, while being traditional, they are also modern and contemporary. New York City has always been the focal point for Bharatanatyam ever since Ragini Devi and her daughter Indrani Rahman made Indian dance a household name in Manhattan. Other dancers soon followed to New York City. Rita Devi, Kamla Lakshman, known as Kumari Kamla or Baby Kamla in childhood, Nallanajan, Bhaskar Roy Chaudhary, and many others. Rita Devi was both an academician and a performer and divided her time between India and the USA. Indrani Rahman, who taught Indian dance at Juilliard in New York City, was a prominent figure in shaping Bharatanatyam diaspora, also spent time between India and the USA. However, Kamla Lakshmi Narayana or Kamla Lakshman, who left India for good after she felt that the government patronage to artists was dwindling, has settled in USA. She has been influential in teaching Bharatanatyam to students in the suburbs of New York City. As Ketu Khatrak analyzes, Bharatanatyam today has become a common ground for second generation students and the first generation parents to continue their mission and share same language and culture. This appeal of Bharatanatyam in its rigor of daily training and accompanied by classical Carnatic music often finds easy support with the migrant parents. In many places, classes are held once a week for which the students travel with their parents and spend a major chunk of their time. Additionally, allied topics of dance, mythology, music and rituals are also offered by the teachers or by the dancers visiting America during the summers, where intensive workshops are held. It is noteworthy to mention that the second generation Indian dancers also navigate two worlds at the same time. This has led to many contemporary productions by serious dancers of the next generation. These contemporary productions have involved modern, jazz, yoga and forms with Bharatanatyam influence. Another important aspect of second generation dancers is the visibility of university dance competitions. These are generally group productions that have Bharatanatyam and instrumental Carnatic music as the basic structure. However, they perform to modern themes and are quite popular among the Desi crowd. It is not only the Indian diaspora that are involved in learning and propagating Bharatanatyam, but also Pakistani, Bangladeshi and other Asian audiences who are interested in learning the art form. In the current milieu, American citizens, when seeing the dance form for the first time, get transfixed with the costume, jewelry and the intricate gestures. This has led to many dance schools in the USA having Americans as students who go beyond their culture. While this might be termed as bordering on cultural appropriation, many American dancers, some had learnt modern dance, find Indian classical dance challenging their capabilities and find wide acceptance among the diaspora. These dancers are applauded by the Indian diaspora for their dedication and sticking to an alien culture and tradition while navigating their American past. Suparna Banerjee explains the challenges she faced while teaching Americans in Iowa. In India and among the diaspora, the parampara or tradition of Guru Shishya is understood, and all first generation parents inculcate the reverence of a teacher to their child. This cultural backdrop, which is majorly missing among the Westerners, was evident with the interaction of students. Thus, as Suparna notes, that the pedagogy of Indian dance had to be changed and modified with the American setup, and this is evident in some dance schools where the teaching methods of the dance teachers are quite different than the way the same dance teacher would have learnt in his or her past. However, K. Porcine, an American who learned from Tanjore Balasaraswati, teaches Bharatanatyam as she imbibed as it was to the American students. While being criticized, Porcine defends it by saying that the American students are gratified by learning the dance in the orthodox instruction. Thus, they give no excuse for their lack of cultural experience. Bharatanatyam in the Indian diaspora has become so famous and popular that in the 2009 American prime-time NBC show called Superstars in Dance featured Indian dancers Amrapali Ambegaonkar in Kathak and Maithili Prakash in Bharatanatyam. The topic of navigating two distinct alien cultures always crops up when one discusses Indian classical dance in the diaspora. For example, in the same show, it was evident to the judges that these dancers were born and raised in the US. Still, their identities as Indian dancers left an indelible mark that they were unable to judge their dancing prowess. Thus, the transnational migration of dancers has shaped and is still shaping the way Bharatanatyam is perceived in the Indian diaspora in the USA.